there's like we this podcast actually was quite. I think this podcast was going to be a special one because of a voice note. I haven't played this to you yet. I haven't even spoke to you about this, but there's a voice note that Henry actually sent me. When did you send me the voice note, bro? A couple of days ago. A couple of days ago. And it just touched me in certain places. Like, not like that, please. Not like that, please. Not like that. Just please. Chill out. It got to me. It resonated with me. That better, yeah. It resonated with me. It resonated with me because he was talking about dads and being empowered and just staying strong, and like it was a lot. So I want to open the floor to you.
Okay.
To go into that because I could play the voice note, but I'm not sure if that's even relevant. But I think it'd be good since you're here.
I could just address it.
The message and why you felt the need to.
Yeah.
Send me that.
We're in a time where a lot of people, it's important of both sexes need to be empowered, right? We've had this obviously independent women and all that stuff before, but sometimes what about the guys? Do you understand? And then I went through as you would, altercation with my partner, as it would be, my missus, and it just caused me, and it caused me to reflect on certain things, and I was like, man, we don't get praised enough, you know, and then we put it in, you get me, because externally, as the vessels we are in this world, even so as black men, it's not easy for us, do you understand? And we break our backs, and I, at the time, was reflecting on my position because obviously I married a woman who already had children. So I've taken them children as my own, literally. And the selflessness I've had to develop over time has been immense for me. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So when I was there, and I was like, nah.
Then you've done bits.
So. Bro. And what happened was at the time, I got into the thing with the missus as you do with the relationships, and I just went, I needed to have my moment in the car, so I went to go sit in the car, but just vexed.
Bunching up the steering.
I was vexed. And then, but ironically, at the time, my older cousin, sent out on his, I think he said, no, did he send it to me? Or I saw it on his status on WhatsApp, and it was words of encouragement for fathers directly. And I was like, I needed to hear that. That just calmed everything for me. So it was beautiful. And then I just naturally, because I'm that guy, I like to empower people, I just sent it to every guy, every father I know in my phone book, more or less. Probably, I've got 600 contacts on my phone. I sent probably about to 50, 100 people. I just sent that to them. And if I got a response from you, then we would have, you get me, politics about it. But I sent it to every man, and then added to, I would send a voice note to them and just say, listen, you're appreciated. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing, all them things. And then I actually stepped further out of the box, and I actually made a video of myself. And this is something I don't do. Made a video of myself. I shot it, and I made a video in a sense of talking directly to whoever I would send it to. And man, just words of encouragement, saying you're doing well, just keep going, and all of those other things, because don't seek validation from anyone, including your missus, bro. You're doing exceptionally well. There's so many friends that I have, and obviously they've gone through certain differences with their baby mothers as it would be, and all of them other things. Nah, bro, you're doing very well. Very, very well. I don't ever doubt that. Do you understand? And yeah, man, and the response I was getting, I won't even lie to you, bro. Some of them brought me to tears, bro, because of what I had gone through at the time, and then at the same time, what people were saying to me. And if we want to go into things like love languages, is words of affirmation. Words of affirmation for certain man them is...
I like this love languages thing.
Bro, words of...
But I never heard about it, and then...
It's serious.
Over the course of 5 minutes, everyone and their dog was using the term love languages. So it's had incredibly good PR, but yeah, go on anyway. It's good, and I think a lot of us with men, our love language is, in that respect, words of affirmation, because if certain things are spoken into our lives, it does so much for us. And in response to what I did,
the responses I got from certain guys from my phone book, who are friends of mine, was it was like, this is beautiful and this should be done more. So then I said to Jeff, bruv, like, if we're doing this thing, this is what we need to talk about today. Amongst anything else, but we need to talk about that because we're in a position where all of us are potentially, or fathers and all of those other things, we can address it from so many different angles.
Yeah, and
So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think it's a good issue because if we take our sort of different sort of vision points, because you're a stepfather, me, I've got girls, and you're a soon to be. So it's like the angles that we can actually approach this from, I think, are very good and slightly different.
Yeah.
For me, once you mentioned that to me, I won't lie, man. I listened to it about 3 times after the first time, because it was just like, I was shocked that, for me, I always get surprised that when people talk about things that I have in my own head as a potential issue or a hurdle, because it brings normality to me, because I actually start to think, oh shit, I'm actually normal, because other people in similar positions are experiencing this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas I typically get worked up in certain scenarios, and I think, oh, maybe it's me, maybe I'm just being too needy or too sensitive and stuff like that. So when you actually sent that to me, I was like, yeah, like, damn, I do need this. I do need to hear sometimes that you're a good dad, like everything that you do, or this stuff that you did, or when you do this, or the way that you've looked after the girls, or done this, or struggled to work and bring home the money to do this, and blah blah. Like, bro, like, it meant so much to me just for you saying it, and you don't even know half the stuff that I do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that's why for me it became instantly just like, this is a thing. It's a big thing, and I think I can only speak from my perspective, but I think there's scenarios where I don't want to say ungrateful, because that's the wrong word, but I think there can be situations when you can have disagreement, and I don't know what your disagreement was with the missus. I can only speak from my perspective, but I think there can be situations where people get out of character, they get hyped up, and they say the wrong thing, but sometimes sort of start believing a particular narrative when, again, like you said, being a black man, a black parent, on top of that, trying to survive and having to take care of your family, that's a big job, bro, and there's so much pressure, bro. But yeah, I don't know what your take is on that.
Also, let me just try and land for a second in terms of, so what you're saying is how you started your own narrative in terms of the women had their empowerment moment, but you're saying the guys haven't had their empowerment moment, and guys should be appreciated more.
I think there's a bigger focus,
and it should be vocalized more, especially within relationships. Is that the
to some extent? No, yeah, to some extent, because I mean, like I said, I spoke from the perspective. It's almost like me going through what I went through. It put me in a box where it's almost like I felt like it's, but not at this sort of level where it was really peeing man off. You know what I mean? So it's almost like for my friends who've gone through, whether it's divorces, separation, all of these other things, or even going through the hardship as it is, and they're in a nuclear family, but they're going. It's like I felt every man's pain there and then. So it drove me to, like, I need to speak to this guy.
Oh, guy. Like on a collective basis.
Exactly.
The black male voice within family is not being heard or being appreciated, and you felt like you needed to reach out. And
that's it.
I think there's a bigger focus on, just to jump in, I think there is a bigger focus on women, and I think that there's probably like a bit of bias because it's a woman, and we want to probably, as a public, as general people, we cater to want to sort of be there for the woman and make sure that women have rights and we make sure that a woman feels valued in a relationship and X, Y, and Z. And I think in that whole movement, men have sort of been pushed to the back a little bit, and we're seen as strong individuals, and that's just the way it is, and we should do X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. Sorry, this is not even a racial thing. This is men in general.
Okay.
This is men in general. And then what we, I think there's a thing that has been said to me, and I've seen it being said from some. It's almost like because we're the men, you're supposed to.
So, and I think that's what you're talking about. And I
You're
think that's the
supposed
actual
to.
conversation.
Or-
What the actual conversation is, if you actually deep it, is.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to take this too far wide and expansive, but to get to that level of happiness or to get to some conclusion, you're talking about what now is the considered the right role for a man within that family. What should he be praised for? And you're talking about female evolution, you're talking about male evolution, you're talking about the female empowerment movement and Me Too and equality and blah, 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 blah. So we feel like we're doing this, that, and the third. If on the flip side, the missus is doing the same and also raising kids, she may not feel like she needs to vocalize to the man that, yeah, you're being amazing, you're doing that, because it's seen as normal. So,
but give me examples of that, bro. Give me an example.
So, for the exact same thing of, and this is me taking a snippet of your potential altercation and trying to think about it from this point of view, or whatever, just to narrow it down to this example. So, is the male voice within relationship not being heard, appreciated, or is the man not being vocalized enough to say that I'm proud of you, you're doing good, whatever? But this is the thing. What is that said role? And if you're talking about just generally, men within relationships don't feel appreciated, that might be a problem. The question is, what are you looking to get appreciated for? What is the specific? And if you're just talking about general, yeah, you're amazing, you do this, and that should be a general discourse back and forth between you and your missus on how you talk. If you've got a buoyant, viable relationship and you compliment each other and you encourage each other. But what are you specifically looking for, the pat on the back for, or whatever it is? Because that's what I'd like to know. Or is it just a pat on the back for no reason?